For over 40 years, SCM
has been the voice of our town,
bringing us together through local programming,
education,
and live broadcasts.
SEM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community,
ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings,
and celebrating milestones
like our high school graduations.
But today, SEM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions.
And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SEM receives less revenue,
even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open,
continues to educate our youth,
and keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SCM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive
for generations to come.
Visit our website
or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media,
where your town,
your schools,
and your government
come together.
First order of business, approval of minutes from October 15th. Did anyone have any notes or changes? File those. New applications for receipt and determination of significance. Application CC 2431 of Michael Wade, owner for a wetlands permit to remove brush and other vegetation in the upland review area at 3 East Wetuck Street.
Yes, so I'll just do a quick summary. This was a permit for removal of brush and vegetation in the regulated area behind the house at 3 East Wetuck. As you can see on the map, the actual matched soils are 44 feet away. If you do go back there, there are cattails in the vicinity. Those are about 16 feet away. This was a permit after the fact that the owner knew about the wetland soils, but didn't realize that there was a 100-foot buffer around it. So he stopped the work in that regulated area. He put up a silt fence. With this permit, he also wants to remove a tree on the other side of the property, a dead ash tree right there. That'll be with silt fencing around it, as he also would like to stump it. That's approximately 32 feet from the tree removal. There are some pictures of the area in the back. He explained that what mostly was removed, while it wasn't large trees, it was more invasive vines that have been growing. What else was back there?
There was a large grape vine that had taken over the back. It was up and down. Those two oak trees you see to the right. It was up and down that, and there was a wild rose bush that was there. The up towards the road there was a couple of sumac that came out as well, but we left all of the trees of any size, anything over an inch is still there, and there were no trees taken from back in the buffer zone.
So this is for determination of significance.
And right now we're in the middle of the project, is basically.
Yes, I would say, yep. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like there's any real sloping back there towards the
Grades
wetlands.
about like that. That's about the grade, and all we're going to intend to do is smooth it out. We're going to no construction, no change of any elevation. Nothing's going to happen other than just keep it as is and grass it over. It really was just to get rid of all of the underbrush. And for the record, I'm Mike Wade.
Oh, this, yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
We find this is not significant activity and we deal with it at our next scheduled meeting. I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to application CC 2432, Town of Simsbury as the owner, engineering department, applicant for a wetland permit to dredge town forest pond.
Yep.
This is Adam Kessler from our engineering department. As mentioned, it's a permit to dredge Town Forest Road. This is a maintenance project to remove accumulated sediment in the pond, as I think has accumulated for a while. But I'll let Adam summarize.
So, for the record, Adam Kessler, Deputy Town Engineer, the engineering department here. So this project was listed in our open space master plan some years ago as a priority. It was funded in the FY23 CIP program. Parks turned it over to DPW recently to take care of because we have the big machines, I guess. So this project, the intent is to restore the original volume of Town Forest Pond. It's behind the Town Forest Park Dam, which is a fairly small dam. The pond itself has been around for quite some time. I do not know when the last time the town dredged it.
That's going to be my first question.
Yeah, back in the early 80s, we installed a stone berm and spillway structure that created a silt basin, basically in the upper portion of the pond, where you see more of the vegetation. The purpose of that was to collect the sediment before it reached the pond itself and got close to the dam. I would say based on these vegetation that's taken over there, as well as just visually looking at the pond recently, that silt basin has not been operating for a little while now. So our intent is to drain the pond down with the low flow, low level outlet, which is twin 10-inch pipes. They're valved. We intend to begin drawing down that pond soon, mostly just for a precautionary standpoint in case the valves are not working, like they sometimes don't. We want to be able to repair it before anything bad happens. So we're going to start draining it down. We've already discussed this with Deep and gotten some comments from fisheries in terms of how to approach it. They view it as a maintenance project as well. Pond surface area is about an acre, more like 8/10 of an acre. We're estimating about the volume that's going to be excavated, removed from the pond is about 1,000 cubic yards. That is a rough estimate based on a very gentle slope of the pond. Essentially, our intent is just to remove the accumulated sediment and hopefully dig down to the original soils that were there. Material will be stockpiled on site to decant. We'll stockpile that outside the floodplain, let it dry out before it's spread outside the upland area on town property. Our approach, like I said, will be drain down, install ENS controls based on best management practice and where it's needed. We'll work in the silt basin first. So essentially start a bypass just upstream of the silt basin, have that bypass dump into the main pond.
So is that
Yeah, right up there. So our intent is to kind of restore that silt basin first. And then once that volume's restored, cleaned up, we'll let that fill back up and then start the bypass around the main pond and dump into the spillway, and then clean up the main pond before letting everything kind of fill back up. It's a pretty straightforward project. It's fairly open over there, so I think we have plenty of room to work. We don't really need to build any roads in. It's right there. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's
what's the timeline for it?
Our timeline is highly dependent on how long our drought lasts. As long as we continue to have dry weather, we'll try to get in there once we have a permit from this board. We'll try to schedule that the following week. But again, if Thursday's rain starts a run of wet weather, we won't do this work until it's dry, a little bit more dry. We're hoping to just take advantage of the current condition. Deep in fisheries understands that maintaining a flow is kind of difficult right now because there's not really much flow. So if we're going to do it now, would be a good time to do it. So we're happy to answer any questions, or if you have any questions, certainly.
How long do you think the whole project will take you once you start?
I don't expect it to take more than a full week. I can't imagine spending too much time in there.
And so when you said there's going to be, but basically, if you had your way, let's say it's dry for a little bit longer, you'd get this done, you'd have all the soils stockpiled over on the left, and then you would spread that when in the spring?
We would, once it's drier, yeah. I mean, if it dries out, and we can spread it, and we have staff that's available, because we'll do this all in house. Then we'll start to spread it as soon as possible.
Where are you going to spread it?
We're going to probably lose a little bit on site here, upland of many areas. There are some areas south of the road, Town Forest Road. In that park, there's an old pavilion that used to be up.
Yeah, I remember.
That's a nice flat area. That's away from everything. And if possible, we do have testing that occurred yesterday on the soils. We're doing some testing for Stoddard Dam as well. That will be coming to you guys about soon as well. So while they're out there, they did some sediment testing. So depending on what those results are, will kind of dictate where we can bring the soil.
Okay.
If it's clean and we can use it as fill, we certainly will, because it's likely just sand. But if not, we have plenty of areas in that general vicinity.
What's the depth, the finished depth you approximate?
Approximately, we're hoping. Again, it depends on what soils we encounter as we're excavating, but we're hoping to establish a 4 or 5 foot depth in the middle, simply for fish habitat, to kind of restore that. If it turns out that if we end up hitting natural soils with only 3 feet of excavation, we'll stop there.
Do you know how deep it is right now?
Right
now,
now,
I know it's a drought, so it's probably even more shallow.
Right. I mean, I'd say a few weeks ago when I looked at it, it didn't look like it was more than 1.5 feet.
Oh wow.
I used to go swimming there. When I was a kid,
right.
Back in the day with a lifeguard and all that. So it was more than 4 feet. I know that. So at the time.
Yeah. So we'll try to get it back to the original depth. So that might end up prolonging the project a little bit. But yeah, I don't think anyone's swam there for a number of years because it hasn't been dredged.
Have you walked in there?
Maybe. I know with the testing, the consultant that did the soil testing, they just put waders on and walked out and tested. So they didn't need much.
So do you have any, you talked to the fishery group, do you have any concerns about the animal life that's in there now in this process?
No. Really, their concerns or their recommendations was just maintaining the 80th percentile July flow for the stream.
Okay.
Simply for downstream fish habitat.
For downstream.
Yeah, their concerns were mostly downstream.
Okay.
Not so much here.
So I'm just going to reverse really quickly because maybe I missed it. So the intended purpose of the project, is it just a habitat restoration project, or?
Yeah, more or less. The intent is to restore the pond to the depth it was back in the 80s and 90s. right now, fish habitat, I don't think is really that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a couple feet of silt at the
Yeah.
bottom, there's no habitat there, so
Right.
it's habitat restoration plan, I'm wondering about more of that plan, I'd like to see it, but that's just me personally, but I'm new to town. So, but I have been there. My son wanted to go fishing there, and I was like, doesn't look like there's a lot of fish there.
I caught a fish there like 10 years ago.
Well, this was like a couple months ago.
I haven't tried in a long time.
And then, is there any dam work that's planned if the water level is gonna be down?
No, we don't have any. With this dam in particular, the last inspection we had, which was a few years ago, there's surprisingly not much wrong with the dam. It's in good shape. Our work is going to be, probably maybe within 20 feet of the dam. We don't intend to get really all that close to the dam itself.
Okay.
We're gonna try to stay away from it. So, unless the bypass, the low level pipe, those twin 10-inch, if there's an issue with those, we'll repair that at this time.
Okay. And part of this plan, is there any plan for the future of this pond with respects to like preventing the silt buildup from coming back and
Yeah, I think
having to do this again in
right.
3 to 5 to 10 more years?
Yeah, our hope is that restoring the silt basin to the way it was designed and the way it was will help the main pond itself. Our intent is once we get it nice and cleaned out, perhaps we'll dredge it on a regular basis.
When you went back and looked, obviously that was why the silt bay was put in originally. Is the reason that we sort of jammed up the main pond was just due to lack of maintenance on the silt bay part?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say from the aerials, it doesn't look like it used to.
Yeah.
There used to be like more of a pond behind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a stream now, so.
Right. So, we're hoping that restoring it back to the way it was, will certainly help the habitat in the area, and certainly the health of the pond itself.
Are you expecting to have to remove a lot of vegetation in order to get into where you're going?
I don't think so. We can access the that silt basin from both sides.
Okay.
There's enough clearing there. We might have some clearing of underbrush on the eastern side, kind of where you see that limited work label, just to get up and around where the berm was created. But it's not too bad back there in terms of overgrowth.
So, just a sort of point of order, if we don't see this as needing to have a public hearing, it still has a 2-week delay until there can be a permit for this, right?
Right, so public or significant or not significant, it's still the vote is the finalization of it, yeah.
It's 2 weeks. So, okay. I didn't know if there was, because it was a town function, there was a way to accelerate that.
Right, there's no town exemptions from that.
For discussion, as it is technically in the wetlands, historically, we do require a public hearing on that. Do we have time to get that noticed for next meeting?
I already noticed it.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah, because there's direct impact, and I know it's a process, but we have to do a full report and feasibility improvement.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's going to be a drastic improvement, but
Right. There's no doubt that this is gonna.
I don't want someone to say we're playing favorites with the town, so
Right.
or we stick to our precedent.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was asking if there was any payoff or not. No, I agree.
Any other questions, comments? Entertain a motion.
I find this is a significant activity. It should have a public hearing scheduled to the next meeting.
December 2nd.
December 2nd. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to public hearing and/or action on application CC 24-30 of Carlos and Anna. I'm not going to attempt the last name because I will mispronounce it. Owners for a wetland permit to place a 12 by 20 shed in the rear yard within wetland soils at 38 Pine Glen.
Yes, this seems like forever ago because we missed a meeting in early November, but this was a more minor project, a shed. One of those properties where the entire property is located in soils. The shed is 15 feet by 20 with a concrete pad. The shed is going to be constructed off-site, right? And it's going to be brought on to the site, so minimal disturbance. And just the pictures show that it's established lawn, really not much wetland functions going on. So this is our vote meeting.
And just to refresh my memory, the concrete pad is how deep? It's crushed stone and then the concrete pad's going on?
Yes, crushed stone, they said up to 8 inches, but I don't think it's 8 inches, maybe just 4 inches. Because it's there is pretty flat and level.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be maybe 3-4 inches of crushed stone and then they will drop the building on top.
Yeah, I think it's just going on crushed stone.
Yeah, and so there wasn't gonna be any major excavation or any place else where the dirt was going, right? Is that interesting?
Yes.
I said concrete pad, but is it crushed stone?
My driveway?
No. The underneath the shed, is it going to be crushed stone?
Just stones.
Oh, just stone. I'm sorry.
No,
I said concrete pad.
Okay,
Just crushed.
Okay, just crushed stone. Got it.
Yeah.
Just for clarification, this is one of the subdivisions that was built pre.
Yes, and the building permit was prior. It was prior to 1987, so that was grandfathered.
It's what you said, the barnyard, as I recall.
The barnyard.
The barnyard, just plop it.
Yes, they would just drop it.
There is a motion to table.
No. Do we have to open it for public comment?
No, this is just a vote. It didn't have to go to public hearing.
Yeah.
For this.
Titles are public hearing and or actions on applications. This is the action on the application.
No more questions or discussion. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve application CC 24-30 of Carlos and Ana Aguilar, property owner and applicant for the wetland permit to place a 12 by 20 foot shed in their rear yard within wetland soils at 38 Pine Glen Road. The project will not adversely impact the wetland soils or watercourses, as the soils have been previously disturbed over the years, and the project will not amount to any additional disturbances and to the including the conditions in the staff report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for the delay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, moving on, agent actions.
No agent actions tonight.
Any old commission business?
No old commission business.
Conservation business, approval of the 2025 meeting schedule.
Yep, so it's already 2025 coming up.
Oh, man.
It didn't really change from 2024, so we have a location change in March, and then in November we get the first meeting off for election. That's about it. No August recess like everyone else. So we just have to make a motion to approve the 2025
Move we approve the schedule.
in a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have.
Oh, I did see maybe an old business or whatever, conservation business, a sign on Onion Mountain. It said invasive brush removal project.
Oh, it did?
I saw the sign.
Oh, good. And you could see it from the street?
It was, well, it was angled so you could only see it when you're going north on the road. You couldn't see it coming south. I did see it. I know, I don't know why, I just happened to look up. And I'm like, ooh. I was very excited.
And we have another go around on Saturday.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Simsbury Land Trust has another go around.
So that is on, let's have that. So Saturday, November
23rd.
23rd.
Is it on your mountain again?
It's on your mountain.
Okay.
10 to 12, led by our fearless leader. So,
Awesome.
And can we adjourn the meeting just before we forget?
Yes, well, any other summary of upcoming events, just because it's on the agenda.
Right. I don't have it.
If there's none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.